The story of the empty fort strategy is one of the most legendary tales of psychological warfare from the Romance of the Three Kingdoms. During one of Zhuge Liang's northern expeditions against the powerful Chao Wei kingdom, he was leading the army of Shu Han deep into enemy territory. However, due to unfavorable circumstances, his forces became scattered, leaving him temporarily stationed in Xicheng, western city, with only a small garrison of soldiers far too few to defend against a major attack. Meanwhile, the Wei general Sima Yi, one of Zhuge Liang's most formidable rivals, was advancing toward Xicheng with an army of over 100,000 soldiers. Zhuge Liang had no time to call for reinforcements or prepare a proper defense. He was vastly outnumbered and seemingly trapped. Faced with certain defeat if Sima Yi attacked, Zhuge Liang devised an audacious plan to trick his opponent into retreating. Instead of fortifying the city and preparing for battle, he did something completely unexpected. He ordered the city gates to be thrown wide open, a reckless act when an enemy army was approaching. Normally, a besieged city would have its gates locked and soldiers ready for battle. He removed all visible troops from the city walls, making it appear as if the city was undefended. A few elderly men were instructed to sweep the streets outside the gates, behaving as if nothing unusual was happening. This created an eerie sense of normalcy, as if Zhuge Liang had nothing to fear. Zhuge Liang himself, dressed in simple Taoist robes, sat atop the city walls playing the guqin, a traditional Chinese string instrument, appearing completely at ease. He looked so calm that it seemed as if he was waiting for Sima Yi as an honored guest rather than an invading enemy. When Sima Yi and his mighty army arrived at the outskirts of Xicheng, he was immediately puzzled by the strange sight before him. The city gates were open, a reckless and unthinkable move during wartime. There were no guards or soldiers in sight. Zhuge Liang sat calmly on the walls, playing music, completely unbothered. Old men were sweeping the streets as if nothing was wrong. Sima Yi knew Zhuge Liang's reputation. He was a man of extraordinary cunning, a master of deception who had outmaneuvered Wei forces many times before. Why would he be so calm unless he had a hidden trick? At that moment, Sima Yi's instincts and caution took over. He suspected that Zhuge Liang must have set up an ambush, perhaps thousands of hidden troops waiting to spring a trap once Wei soldiers entered the city. Rather than risk walking into a potential deadly ambush, Sima Yi chose to retreat, pulling his massive army away from Xicheng. Zhuge Liang's city and his life were saved without a single battle. Why did this strategy work? Zhuge Liang's empty fort strategy succeeded because it exploited psychology rather than military strength. Zhuge Liang understood his opponent. Sima Yi was a highly intelligent and cautious commander. If he were reckless, he might have attacked anyway, but Zhuge Liang correctly guessed that Sima Yi would overthink the situation and assume a trap. The scene was too perfect. The combination of an open city, lack of defenses, and Zhuge Liang's eerie calmness was unsettling. No one would deliberately leave themselves defenseless unless they were supremely confident in their hidden strength. Fear of Zhuge Liang's reputation played a role. Zhuge Liang had tricked and outmaneuvered Wei forces many times before. Even though there was no actual ambush, Sima Yi had been conditioned to expect deception, making him retreat even when there was no real danger. The outcome: victory without fighting. Sima Yi and his massive army retreated from Xicheng. Zhuge Liang and his small force remained unharmed and later regrouped with reinforcements. The empty fort strategy became one of the most famous examples of psychological warfare in history, demonstrating that a well-played bluff can be more powerful than actual strength. Sometimes, boldness and unpredictability win the day. If Zhuge Liang had tried to fight, he would have lost. Instead, he did something so unbelievable that it made his enemy hesitate and retreat.